What's up, everybody? Daily Betslip, Friday, October 28th. Usual Friday crew with you here. I'm Reed Wallach. With me is Donnavan Smoot. We got a loaded show today. Baseball's back. We got World Series action. Game one. It feels like we haven't had baseball in like a week or two at this point, but we got World Series action. Phillies, Astros. That's our game of the night. We got to that at the end of the show. We got NBA Friday best bets. We got Week 9 college football best bets. And, of course, we have our Predict the Hot Take segment, our NFL little preview. Me and Donnavan going to try and see if we could get some, get ahead of what they're going to be talking about on Monday. Last week, we did okay. It wasn't as much of a breaking story, but we did all right there. So we'll make sure to recap last week's and also predict some next hot takes. We got a lot going on. Donnavan, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Listen, happy Friday. It's all good. I see you got the best side. The best side of
Listen, you gotta rep BetSided. We're coming up on 1,000 subscribers. We gotta make sure everyone is as aware as possible. You gotta go right below us, right down here, and hit like and subscribe so we can get to 1,000. So we gotta push the brand.
I need one for sure.
Yeah, no. One time we're just gonna start. This will be like our uniform, basically. We'll just be sitting here in hoodies, 100%. Giving out bets in our BetSided sweatshirts. Very comfortable though. Maybe we'll start selling them after we hand out some winners tonight on a Friday. Donnavan has 3 NBA bets. I have 4 college football bets, and then of course we got our game of the night, Astros Phillies, like we said. But let's get some community picks up. Let's hear from the other people in the replies. So let's bring up that first community best bet. I think is friend of the program at Pumpin Swag 33 says Orlando Magic money line. I gotta pull up the current odds on the Magic, who are, I believe, them and the Lakers are the only winless teams, which is kind of really tough for me because I took the Magic win total over 29.5. So it's not looking good so far. I will say though, Paolo Banchero is probably gonna win Rookie of the Year, so he looks like he is the truth there.
He looks great. He
looks great. And the Magic have kind of had a tough schedule. I'm going to give them a little bit of a mulligan. They played Detroit on the road, lost by 4. Played Atlanta, lost by 10. Lost to Boston at home by 6. I think they were winning in halftime at that game. And they lost to the Knicks and at Cleveland. So, tough stretch. They are home tonight as 2-point home underdogs against the Hornets. So money line coming out about plus 105, plus 110. Small home underdogs. I like the Magic tonight. Maybe, I think they could get off the schneid here, get their first win. Charlotte, still not so with them. LaMelo Ball still out. I don't know if Terry Rozier is going to be playing, but Donnavan, I know you have a bet on this game, so I guess we'll save that.
We'll save it for later.
All right, so Pump and Swag. If you are in the chat or something, we will get Donovan's opinion. He has a play there, so we'll tease that one. Another one, we don't have the graphic up, but friend of the program, Sean Mitchelson at the Sox fan 24 always comes in. He gave out Giannis 46.5 points and rebounds. I just want to pull up the tweet that I'm going to read out. Giannis over 46.5 points and rebounds versus the Knicks. Crushed this the last 2 games, 56 and 57. Knicks 29th in opponent rebounds, but 4th in total possession. So there will be plenty of opportunities for both points and rebounds. Can't hate the play. Can't hate the play. I mean, I watched Giannis absolutely wreck my Nets the other night. I know the Knicks have probably a more sturdy front court, more bodies they could throw at Giannis, but I mean, to me, it looks like we're seeing another MVP campaign build up here. I mean, Giannis broke 42 of the games already, double-digit rebounds in both the games. I know looks like if I had to say the early MVP candidates are probably Giannis, Luka, and Ja in some order, but Giannis is right there and he's playing at a high level. So I mean, 37 and 10, that's the norm for him right now. So I can't really hate on it.
Yeah, I like this play as well, and I agree with you. I think Ja would probably be first in MVP talks right now, and then you get to Giannis and Luka. But you're betting on Giannis to have a good game, and it's like he's either going to be too fast for Mitchell Robinson or he's going to be too big for Julius Randle, and there's an advantage at anybody that you throw at him. So yeah, I don't hate betting on Giannis at all. So
I think these numbers seem ridiculous, but with the size Giannis has, and especially with the way Brook Lopez plays out on the perimeter, Giannis is kind of the pseudo rebound grabber. It's not like they play like Giannis kind of almost factors as a center in that regard, or a typical center. So Giannis is going to be the biggest guy on the floor. He's going to get those rebounds. So I don't hate it at all. And I mean, like I said, he broke 40 in 2 of the 3 games. So he might flirt with it just on the points. But yeah, okay. So there's our community best bets. Thank you for chiming in. Pumpin' Swag. He was talking about the Magic money line. Don, I'm going to go to you. 3 best bets on the hardwood tonight. Let's start with that Orlando Magic game, though. What do you got? Small home dogs against the Hornets.
Yeah, I saved it, but I like the Magic. I'm with you, and the community as well. I like the Magic tonight. They've been very, very competitive this season. And you talk about the Hawks game, even though that they lost by 10, that was a tie game late into the third quarter. And even as the third quarter ended, they were still very much within that game. They were very, very close with the Boston Celtics. That game came down to like the last minute and a half. And even against the Knicks, like there was some separation, but they were never too far away to where they weren't a run away from getting back into this game. We talked about Banchero looking fantastic. He looks every bit as advertised. He can score the ball as just in a million types of ways. He looks awesome. And then Franz Wagner, even though that Cole Anthony is out and that Jalen Suggs is out, Franz Wagner can play that point forward and he could be the facilitator for this team. He looks great to start this season. And you look at Orlando and kind of what they tried to build is kind of like what Toronto did with a lot of this length. And you have Bol and Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter Jr. And you have all these guys, all these like just length that you can throw out on the floor on any given lineup. And they can be really big and really overpowering. And for a Hornets team that, again, isn't going to have LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier is out with an ankle sprain tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Martin's not playing. So now it's just going to be Kelly Oubre and Gordon Hayward. So I really like Orlando to come in and get their first win and actually close the deal tonight. So I'll take Orlando as a small money line. And then we were talking about that Giannis game, and my second pick is in that game as well. I'm taking the Bucks -6 against the Knicks. New York, listen, they're 3-1 and they've done what they've had to do to win games, but they have not played an extremely hard schedule. They've played Charlotte, they've played Orlando, they've played Detroit, and then they lost their first game to Memphis. And so if you talk about playing up to the level of competition, and while that game did go into overtime, there was a stretch where the Knicks were down by a bit, and they needed a big shot from Cam Reddish at the end of the game to send it into overtime. But I think that Milwaukee, they have the number 1 defense in the league. And we already talked about the mismatch that Giannis is against nearly everybody in the league. So I think Giannis is going to have a big game. Jalen Brunson, who's playing really well, now he has to go up against Drew Holiday, who's probably the best guard defender in the league.
Yeah,
and so I expect a little bit of regression from Brunson. RJ hasn't been shooting the ball well. Julius Randle, he's going to be Julius Randle, but I just don't think that there's enough on the Knicks end to keep this game somewhat close. And so I think Milwaukee gets this game. And then lastly, I'm taking the Cavs +6 on this one. I think this line is a little bit too big. I think it's a little bit disrespectful to Cleveland, because we think about Boston in the sense of like they have this great defense and they're smothering and they can take you out. Boston is 24th in defensive rating through their first 4 games. And the loss of Robert Williams and Al Horford has been in and out of the lineup. That's really messed with their defensive chemistry. And I just don't see it right now from Boston. There's just something off. Meanwhile, Cleveland is 8th in offensive rating. They're 2nd in defensive rating. They're 1st in the league in net rating. And Donovan Mitchell he's fit into Cleveland seamlessly. Even without Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell's been able to pick up the offensive slack and be the offensive engine for this team. And you have this Twin Towers in the back end, which is the reason why a whole bunch of people were high on Cleveland in the first place. You have Evan Mobley, who's switchable and can guard anybody, and then you have Jared Allen to protect the rim. So you have really 2 options, like 2 elite options defensively to cover ground. Then you have Donovan Mitchell to score at will. And so I think that Cleveland is a much more complete team through the first 4 or 5 games of the season than Boston is. So I'll take them +6. And I actually think that they win outright. I think they are
okay.
The last time I saw, they were +200 on the money line. And so I would take them. Dart? Yeah. Well, I don't think it's a dart. I think it's like I think I think this line should be closer to like 3.5, 4.
Okay.
But yeah, I like Cleveland on the money line tonight to upset Boston.
So you think the Cavs are maybe not like Eastern Conference contender to go to the finals, but you think they should be kind of in that realm, especially with teams like the
100%.
Sixers, the Heat, kind of something like that. You think the Cavs should be kind of closer to that Bucks Celtics realm, as like three and a half wins?
100%.
Okay, cool.
Defensively, they have everything that you need in terms of the rim protection, the switchability from Evan Mobley at the 4 position to where you can't really get that guard big mismatch. And then if Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, if they can be not cones on defense, right? If you could be not negatives and allow those two in the back end to play high level defense, you're going to be just fine. And Darius Garland, when he comes back, and now you add another 20-point per game score to what Donovan Mitchell's doing already. Yeah, I think Cleveland has a lot of value in the futures market, and I think we really should be keeping an eye on them.
Interesting. We're going to have to talk about that. I'm sure Donovan next week will have something on BetSided.com talking about that. But awesome stuff from Donovan. We'll recap that in a sec after I give out the 4 college football plays like usual, going to be in every single time slot. Last week, 1 and 3, so a little bit of a setback. My Cal bet, though, got home. We're on Cal again this week, not inside this 4-pack, though. So we're going to start big noon Saturday on Fox. Ohio State, Penn State. We're going to go under. We're going to go under 61. Broke this down the early read on Tuesday. If you want to watch a full episode there, it's right on this YouTube page. You can check that out. But Penn State, I think that they know they can't get into a shootout with this Ohio State team. I think they're going to try and avoid turnovers from Sean Clifford. They're going to try and take the air out of the ball. They've been able to find success on the ground. And then on the other side, we know what Ohio State could do on offense. They're number 1 in yards per play. But last week, Iowa, I know Ohio State scored 54 points, but Iowa only allowed 360 yards of total offense. A lot of short fields for Ohio State there. I think that number is a little inflated. And Penn State, top 5 in red zone touchdown allowed percentage. So when teams are getting inside the 20, Penn State's holding for 3. They're not letting in 6. So maybe a few drives could stall in close, field goal as opposed to a touchdown, and that helps this game go under 61. Next up, one of my favorite spots on the card, UCF money line against Cincinnati. This is minus 120. So basically a coin flip. I think UCF, though, is going to hand an overrated Cincinnati team their first AAC loss. This UCF offense, top 10 in success rate on the ground. Their defense is top 20 in success rate allowed. The Cincinnati team just hasn't really been challenged all that much this season, especially in conference play. I think UCF can get to this Cincinnati defensive line that is bottom half of the country in success rate allowed on the ground. So I think John Reese Plumlee, this is a much better matchup for him than it was last week against ECU as one of the stoutest rush defenses in the AAC. So I think UCF, great matchup here at home. Off the loss, I love it. I think you're going to see UCF run wild. There also might be some weather involved. There might be some rain at the bounce out. So I think that's only going to help UCF more in their really good defense. Night slate, Baylor, Texas Tech, over. This is bounced around. I got 62.5. Texas Tech, top 10 in plays per minute. They're playing at a frenetic pace. And you look at Baylor, known for their defense last year, it's just not the same. They allowed 40-plus to West Virginia on the road. I mean, Kansas was able to put up 20-plus, 36 to Oklahoma State. So they're getting into higher scoring affairs. And we've seen Blake Shapen really come alive the last few weeks. Put up 38 against Kansas, put up 40. He ended up leaving early, but Baylor put up 40 at West Virginia. Texas Tech defense is really good, but I think Baylor's offense is better than its defense this year. And I think the pace is going to be fast. I think both teams break 30 with ease. So I'll take over 62.5. And the nightcap, over 64.5 in Stanford, UCLA. This was also given out in the early read. It's ticking up, but I still think there is some room to go here. UCLA, they're going to name their number here against the Stanford defense. They put up 30 against Oregon last week on the road. They're back home. They picked up 6.5 yards per play. I think it's going to be similar. I expect at least 5 touchdowns from Dorian Thompson-Robinson. That gets you to around 35 already. Add in a field goal, add in another touchdown, you're pushing 40. But the Stanford offense could also do some work against UCLA. This defensive line isn't all that great. Bottom half of the country in defensive line yards. Stanford likes to throw the ball, so the clock is going to be stopping. Both teams top 15 plays per minute. I just think the pace calls for an over. I think there's going to be plenty of points, especially UCLA is laying 16.5, 17 points. If this game becomes a blowout, I think Stanford's going to push at the end and try and get a few late scores. So Stanford, UCLA over 64.5, and there's our Saturday, call it a 4-pack. We'll work with that title. We'll see if that sticks by the end of the season. But there's our college football best bets. Let's get the recap graphic up, and we will get to some NFL hot takes. So again, Donovan for tonight's NBA slate is taking the Magic as small home underdogs. I think it's like around plus 105, plus 110 against the Hornets. He's got the Bucks -6 against the Knicks and the Cavs +6 against the Celtics. And then for me tomorrow on the college football card, taking the under 61 in Penn State, UCF moneyline -120, over 62.5 in Baylor, Texas Tech, and over 64.5 in Stanford, UCLA. There are some bets for you. So let's talk some NFL now. Let's keep getting the weekend rolling here. So last week on our hot take segment, I think we were on to something, but I think you were closer to like really hitting the nail on the head. I don't know if it was like a big talking point this week, but your call last week was Taylor Heineke is going to take Carson Wentz's job.
Yes.
And they go and beat the Packers, but I didn't really hear anything about it. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I thought it would have been a bigger story. You beat the Packers. I feel like the narrative was more about how the Packers are dead than the Commanders are like doing something.
Yeah, and it's very interesting.
You were wrong though. I will give you a win for this one. You were correct.
Thank you. I think one of the big things also is that through the first part of the year, that chemistry between Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke was not there. And you see Heineke comes in and he basically has like that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, where he's like, hey, Terry's down there somewhere. I'm just going to throw it to him. But you have a $72 million receiver that's now back into the offensive fold. And so that's a really good thing to do, right? You don't want wasted money there. So Terry's back. Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson are going to be doing a fairly decent job of splitting that backfield. Jahan Dotson is going to he's going to be a playmaker again later this season. And Curtis Samuel, they've been using him in all types of ways. So yeah, I think Taylor Heineke. I will gladly take that win.
Okay, so let's do this week. What do you got going on? What is your NFL hot take? It looks like you're already off to a good start also with it. I'll preface it with that, but let's hear it.
Yeah. So I think we should give up on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think we should go all in on the Atlanta Falcons to win the NFC South. Tampa Bay right now is -160 to win the NFC South. First off, they don't control their own destiny right now in the NFC South. The Atlanta Falcons, whoever wins this Falcons-Panthers game, is going to have sole possession of first place through 8 weeks of the NFC South. And I think Atlanta's going to win. I think the game is going to hit the under at 41, but I also think that Atlanta's going to win. I think their running game edges out Carolina. But Atlanta they're plus 340. And so it's like there's some value there. And with the way that they've been able to run the ball effectively, they've been able to stay in close games with the exception of last week where Cincinnati just said like, okay, we're just going to throw the ball deep and you guys just can't stop us because AJ Terrell was hurt. But they have offensive pieces when you talk about Drake London. If they ever decide to start using Kyle Pitts like the generational tight end talent that he is, Marcus Mariota can still move around with his legs. Cordell Patterson is going to come back later in the season. So they have the offensive weapons. I don't think that this division, who right now the Falcons are up in the division at 3-4, and the Falcons are 3-4, Bucks are 3-5. I don't have much faith in the Buccaneers because they can't run the ball, and any sense of pressure, Tom Brady can't even make something out of nothing because he's throwing the ball in the dirt all the time. And their defense has been built off of you can't run on us. They've been ran on for the last 3 weeks. Yeah. And so the strength of their team is no longer the strength of their team. You saw Shaq Barrett goes out this week. He has a torn Achilles. So there's a lot of stuff going on in Tampa Bay. And I just don't trust them right now. And so I think you might as well take the value with Atlanta to win this division.
Yeah. I mean, Tampa Bay, I know they were like -250 at like earlier in the week before they obviously lost to the Ravens last night. So I think you're already kind of onto something here. And I like Atlanta as well against Carolina this week, especially Carolina again, that win last week. I think that kind of maybe get a little fat and happy spot for a lowly Panthers team. But I agree with you. I think that Arthur Smith is really starting to implement, I think, the offense he envisioned with Marcus Mariota. Maybe not Marcus Mariota is like the long-term answer there, but it does seem like he it looks like he's doing better with, I mean, first of all, some crossover from Tennessee, but like a more mobile quarterback than Matt Ryan. It seems like this is something he is more comfortable running this offense. So I don't hate the look at all. I think that, if the team that wins that game, which is likely the Falcons, is going to be the team that we're talking about on Monday, in my opinion. Yeah. So for my hot take last week, I said I like the Raiders a lot. I think the Raiders are going to be that dark horse playoff team. Didn't really get the hype there long term. It got a little tight in the third quarter, and then they just pulled away against the lowly Texans. They won by, I think, like 18. The schedule continues to be easy for that team. So we'll see how they do against the Saints team this week. We'll see if maybe that could really start building up some momentum. I thought that this was like the start of their run off the bye. But for this week, kind of in the same vein you're talking about with how the NFC South is wide open. The NFC, the NFC East is the NFC East, but like for as a whole, if you're telling me there's just like one team in the Eagles, maybe the Cowboys that are really like head and shoulders above everyone, to me that means the conference is wide open. And the Niners got smoked last week against the Chiefs. Yet I still think that they're going to go to LA this weekend, smoke them again, like it seems like they always do in the regular season. And everyone is going to go back to talking about how good this Niners team is. I don't even know if I believe in this hot take. I'm just predicting what everyone's going to be talking about on Monday. I don't even know if I believe in this Niners team, but I think the matchup sets up great. I think this Rams team is cooked. I think this Rams team is going nowhere real fast. Probably nowhere faster than this Rams team, or than this Bucs team. I'm sorry. I think that the offensive line is terrible. The weapons are not there. They desperately miss Odell Beckham. Allen Robinson just has not gelled in this offense this year. And I think the Niners just have too many weapons here. The defense is rock solid. Maybe another good week of McCaffrey, full practice. And I think the Niners come out and make a little bit of a statement. Everyone's going to be talking about this is the Niners year. They're finally going to get over the hump. They're going to get back to the Super Bowl after a close call last year. And I think that's the hot take from this week. I just think they're going to whoop the Rams again. I love the Niners in the spot.
I agree with you. And earlier this week, I wrote up, the three teams most likely to upset the Eagles in the playoffs.
It has to be the Niners.
I had the Niners one. I had the Cowboys too. And I didn't really have a solid third team, so I threw Tom Brady in the Bucs because you're just like, I mean, I guess Tom Brady, but like I'm being real, like I don't trust them anymore, and I think that Atlanta might be able to get this division. But when we're talking about San Francisco, the question that it has been and that it will continue to be until he's moved is, can Jimmy G not throw the interception in the biggest moment? And so, like in the NFC Championship game last year, when they have to go down and get a drive to score and win the game, nobody thought that the Niners were going to do it because it's Jimmy G at quarterback. And so if they can get a lead and they have all the time, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, that is a skill position probably better than maybe anybody in the league. And
up there, I got to think if it's number one, but it's definitely close.
I would say in terms of depth, in terms of like George Kittle's a top 3 tight end. Deebo Samuel can do absolutely everything. McCaffrey, when healthy, is a top 3 running back. Like you have all of these pieces. They just need solid quarterback play and non-mistake quarterback play. And so we'll see. But I agree with it because if Jimmy G can be in the upper 75th percentile of quarterbacks, they're probably like
the way the offense is called that you average gets you there. You gotta make a few throws.
Yeah.
That's why last year.
And he can't do it.
Yeah. No, I mean he was terrible last year, but I think again, like this is like the short-term memory that NFL media kind of.
I've been remembering. This is long term for me. This is long term.
Yeah. No, for
Jimmy
sure.
G for me.
Yeah. All right, but so there's my hot take. I think Niners are going to be getting that NFC contender love after. I think they whoop the Rams. They are 1-point road favorites. And Donovan's hot take is that the Falcons are going to win the NFC South, and everyone's going to be talking about it. If they beat the Panthers this week, they are in sole possession of first place in the division. So there's some NFL hot takes for you. Now, it's like we forgot existed, but it is back. It is the World Series Game 1 live from Houston tonight, Minute Maid Park. Justin Verlander for the Astros, Aaron Nola for the Phillies. Astros a -168 favorite. Phillies coming back +142. Total of 6.5. Juice to the over -122. Coming back on the under plus 100. I got those odds at FanDuel about 3:55 Eastern, so I'm not sure where it moved. But, of course, we have the Phillies coming in, like gangbusters, beat the Cardinals in a thriller, take care of the Braves in easy fashion. They smoked the Padres and, they just hit fire there. And I think the Astros a little bit of the opposite, just kind of outclassed their opponents, didn't drop a game in their run to the World Series. They were the best team throughout the postseason, but mainly due to timely hitting, stud pitching left and right. They really just overwhelmed their opponents. I think that they were just better than their opponents, so I don't know how much I necessarily put into that, but I think there are some questions about this Astros lineup not hitting as well. A few timely homers here and there from the likes of Yordan Alvarez, Alex Bregman, Pena, but to me, the Phillies come in with a ton of momentum. I wonder if this kind of near week layoff is going to stunt the momentum of the Phillies after such a hot run. But Donovan, I will ask you about let's go big picture first, set the stage for this World Series, because I honestly was not as impressed with the Astros, definitely more the pitching staff, but the lineup to me, not as impressed. The Phillies, I was very impressed. They really caught fire there, and I wonder if they could carry that into this series. What are some of your big picture thoughts on the series? Maybe an early lean onto which side you're feeling. If you couldn't tell, I'm a Mets guy, but I kind of think this is like Phillies' year. I really think that I'm going to lean into that side. But do you have any thoughts?
So I'm kind of with you on the fact that I wasn't impressed by the Astros, but it's because they met expectations for me.
Yeah.
This is what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to beat the Mariners. And I even from July, I remember having conversations and telling I live in Houston. I'm from Houston. Everybody around me is an Astros fan. And however, I'm a Yankees fan. But I've told everybody, the Yankees are going to get to the CS and they're going to lose to the Astros like they always do. And so this has been my prediction since July. So from the Astros standpoint, I think that this is probably the most complete Astros team that they've had out of this run that they've had in terms of making it to the World Series 4 times out of the last 6 years. Their starting lineup is very, very deep, and they find ways to win. And this is why I picked them to be here. This is why I picked them to win the World Series, because they, like you said, they're very, very timely. So I think that with this week-long layover, they are going to be able to outclass Philly. I think that momentum takes a hit. I think that the Astros win the World Series overall. I have Jeremy Pena winning World Series MVP as well. He's been fantastic. And again, you talk about timely hitting. He had the home run in the 18-inning marathon that they had against Seattle. He had a home run in the first and last game of the CS. He's been fantastic for them, and I think that he gets World Series MVP.
What odds?
Basically 17-1.
Okay.
Yeah,
basically. Team favored 17-1 with a guy who's going to play every game. Don't hate the luck.
Yeah. So I like Pena to get it. And you talk about game 1, and we can kind of transition over into
hit me with your pick for game 1.
Game night. I think the Astros get game 1. I'm kind of surprised that Nola is getting the start rather than Wheeler for game 1. But at a certain point, Justin Verlander has to step up. Like, the World Series stuff just has to end. He's 0-6 as a starter in the World Series. You think that listen, for a pitcher as great as Justin Verlander, you got to get 1 win. And I think coming in, I think coming into a World Series where you have a week to think about it, you're going to be at home. This is the spot. And so I'm gonna back Verlander. I think that the Astros get the win tonight.
Okay. We are going to be going a little mono today, my friend. I'm going to take the Phillies. I really think that momentum's a weird thing. And listen, I'm a Mets fan. I watched this Phillies. First of all, the Mets had the Phillies number all year. The Phillies did not beat the Braves or Mets in a series the entire regular season. And guess what? It means absolute bupkis. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. They caught fire at the right time. The guy showed up. And I'm not rooting for the Phillies. My heart says screw the Phillies. I'm a Mets fan, but I think this momentum is a real thing. You know, guys like Rhys Hoskins are just cracking the ball. Bryce Harper, I mean, my God, Schwarber's hitting balls to the moon. Just things are kind of all coming up every which way, the Phillies. And it's a weird thing, especially in baseball, that just like things just go your way. And I just haven't really been impressed with the Astros. And I think that the incompetence of the Yankees lineup, or the fact that the Mariners was kind of their first time there for most of the team in a really long time and they couldn't get over that hump. Yes, the Astros are obviously amazing. I just think that there's a weird thing going with the Phillies that I'm kind of leaning into. And you talk game one specifically, Nola's been lights out. I know he got rocked by the Padres last time out, but how about his 3 starts before that? 3 straight shutout starts, including the regular season finale, that first start to start that run of 3, where he pitched 6 2/3 shutout innings against the Astros in Houston to clinch the wild card spot for the Phillies. So Nola has recently seen this Astros team, so he knows what they got. I think he's going to show up in this one. And you bring up the Verlander thing. The Astros have the best bullpen in baseball in the regular season. Their bullpen's been nails this postseason, but I think that the Phillies could jump out to a lead here on Verlander. Nola could hold down the fort and get them a win. So, I just think at plus 145, now plus 142, I just think these teams are a little bit closer than the odds indicate here. I think that, you're paying a little bit of a premium on Houston just based on what we've seen this postseason. So I'll take Philly to get the job done for me. And we'll see how the series goes. It should be a lot of fun. Obviously, this great team in the Astros. We don't think they're cheating this time, but we'll see. And then it's like Phillies team that caught lightning in a bottle, and they're trying to ride this kind of crazy out of nowhere run to a World Series. So we'll see. But it looks like I am completely on my own here. I guess that like somewhat of a kind of a lean into the Phillies stealing that Red Sox song, the dancing on my own. But the poll from the community is the Astros minus 165 as the community best bet. So I will literally be dancing on my own, betting on the Phillies. So there's our show for today. If you missed our best bets, go rewind. We got graphics up and everything for Donovan's best NBA plays for tonight and my bets for tomorrow's college football slate. But great show, Donovan. Sunday, we are back. Matt Bertram and Ian McMillan giving out NFL best bets. That's right before kickoff at 1 p.m. Make sure you are on the BetSided YouTube page. And honestly, your life is just easier if you like and subscribe to this stuff like you should. You would get notified about all this stuff. You get notified about my show, The Early Read, which is live on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. You get notified about Daily Betslip every day, Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern or 4 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. But yeah, Donovan, have a great weekend. Big shout out to Joanne Woodcock. She pulls all the strings behind the scenes. And to everyone, have a profitable and winning weekend.